Okay, here we are. Book 10, Witness in Death. This is the last time we'll be seeing this book. We're moving these upstairs, and we're getting the next 10 and bring them down. So, Witness in Death, and, Conspiracy in Death, Loyalty in Death. These are out of order. Holiday in Death. There's Holiday in Death. And these are way out of order. Rapture in Death, Vengeance in Death, Immortal in Death. We're gonna leave this one down because we're gonna use this one again. These books are gonna show up again. This is the other version of it. And one of the early ones, Ceremony in Death, Rapture in Death, Immortal in Death, Vengeance in Death. I have a couple of copies of each, as I pointed out earlier. Another Immortal in Death, Rapture in Death, an early Naked in Death, and Glory and Naked in Death. Sorry, I should have got organized. But hey, this is the D. Louise book series. This is where we read books, talk about books, no special effects, no theme music, none of that fancy stuff going on here. KRISTINNA. And no special editing, and we don't prepare very well. But if you could hit the like and subscribe, I would greatly appreciate it. I sometimes forget to ask, and I could really use it. Some of the other channels beg quite a bit. Did you notice? Have you thought about this? You go through Facebook and your friends post stuff. You like. You want to go on YouTube. You scroll. You don't like. You like maybe that one. But you just watch and scroll. You don't like as much on YouTube. It's just weird. And it counts more on YouTube. But anyway, let's get to it. We have Eve is a lieutenant in the New York City Police and Security Department. Rock is her husband. Peabody is her aide right now, soon partner. McNabb, we're getting to in here. He is a detective in the EDD department. He will be, and it sort of kind of is, Peabody's other half, but we got to get through Charles first. We got to deal with the Charles situation. Charles is a licensed companion, and in this decade, they get licensed, and streetwalkers have a certain license, and if you improve your skills, blah, 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 not just, in the education department too, not just in the bedroom situation, but they get up and up license and they can charge large fees. And Charles charges large fees. And Eve is friends with him, but she's not too happy with Peabody dating him. What Peabody hasn't told anybody is that her and Charles have a platonic relationship. There is no bedroom activity. They're just friends. And that is irritating the life out of McNabb because he believes that she is sleeping with Charles. And Peabody is not going to correct him for a while. So we'll see what's going to happen there. Then we have Dr. Mira, the department shrink, and a friend of Eve's. Whitney is her boss. Feeney is captain of EDD and her former mentor. Mavis is her best friend and now a rock star thanks to Rourke. Leonardo is her significant other. We have a brief appearance by Trina. We probably won't even read about her. Then we have Trueheart, who's been assigned to work with Baxter, or will be at some point. And Trueheart gets injured, so we've got to deal with the repercussions of that situation. We've got to deal with the Charles situation. And we have a killer to catch. There is a murder in the theater in front of thousands of people. 1,000 people witnessed the murder, hence the witness in death. But who really did it? Who switched the knife? Who changed the prop knife for a real knife? It happened in front of everybody. It happened in front of Eve and Rourke. It happened in front of Mira. Everybody witnessed it. But what is the real story? We are not going to deal too much with the plotline, but because and I will include my original review way back when. I read these in 2023, and these are my comfort series. And I did not read them last year because of the channel. Because I had done them in 2023 for the channel, and I didn't read them last year because I'd done them the year before. And I was trying to think of ways that I could do them again, and I decided I'm just gonna read my favorite parts, the character parts. And that's how we'll do my favorite series this year. And we're gonna go all the way through. So, like I said, there's been a murder in the theater in front of everybody. So, let's talk to Rock just a little bit. I don't know why. Oh, wrong page. Rourke is going out of town. Oh, and Eve has. Well, we should probably just skip this little part, but Eve was raised in the foster home system. She also, the first 8 years of her life, lived with her father, who abused her and mistreated her and starved her and all that kind of stuff. Then she went into the foster program where she had horrible foster parents. So Eve has nightmares. She's now in a position where she's comfortable with Rourke and feels safe with Rourke. And now her brain or mind or whatever you want, subconscious, is going, it's now okay to reveal these things to you about your past because you are comfortable now. So I think we'll just skip this, but this is Rourke going out of town, and he will be back by early evening to be home with Eve because he doesn't want to leave her home alone because she's been having the nightmares. So we'll just deal with that part. Okay, so then she goes and talks to Whitney. And Whitney is concerned that Rourke owns the theater that the murder occurred in. Are the estimates of 3,000 witnesses in the ballpark? Just thinking about made Eve's head throb. I'm afraid they are, Commander. Obviously, we couldn't hold the witness members in the theater for long. We did a person-by-person ID for name and residence as each was released. Some statements were taken because basically some people couldn't shut up. Most of those which I reviewed were disjointed and essentially useless. Divvy up the audience witnesses in the squad. I'll pull in some detectives from other areas. Let's run some eliminations to get those numbers down. I'll start that today, Commander. Delegate it, he ordered. You can't be spared for drone work. Tag Feeney for the backgrounds on cast and theater personnel. I want to close this. He's to prioritize the backgrounds over his current caseload. Just get. He'll moan over that, Eve thought, but she was pleased to be able to pass that part of the load over to the E-detective. I'll communicate that to him, Commander, and send him the list. Copies to my attention. And then, Eve hates press conferences. Later, they'll become a more of a normal situation due to individual cases, and she will also be having to deal one-on-one with the press, the liaison, the department liaison, but that's a long way off from now. So then they talk about that stuff. And then she talks to Feeney. Hey, Dallas, heard you caught a hell of a show last night. The reviews were a killer. Okay, got that out of the system. I got direct orders from the commander. I'll be shooting you a full list of cast and crew from the play and additional theater personnel. I need full backgrounds with correlations, any and all connections of any and all the individuals in regards to the play. I won't go through the names here. Love to lend a hand, Dallas. I'm up to my nostrils here. Direct from the Commander, not me. Well, hell. Peabody's already hanging face filled the screen with sorrow. She watched him drag a hand through his wiry rust-colored hair. How many backgrounds are we talking? Including non-speaking roles, walk-on tech and talent crew maintenance sessions? 400. Jesus, Dallas. So, then, a little while later, she's talking to Peabody. Works for me. I'll be in the field. Peabody'll get you the list ASAP. Look for sex, Feeney. You get to be my age, you slow down on that some. Ha ha, sex and illegals. I've got a tie already. Let's see if it spreads out. I'll be in touch. She pocketed her communicator, leading the way down to the lower level where her vehicle was parked. Shoot the witness and suspects list to Feeney. We're dumping backgrounds on EDD. Good for us. Peabody drew out her palm unit and began the transfer. So, is he using McNabb? I didn't ask. You want to know, don't you? Eve strapped in, started the car. I don't know what you're talking about. About me and McNabb. As far as I'm concerned, there is no you and McNabb. It doesn't exist in my world. My aide is not having some weird-ass sexual fling with the fashion plate from EDD. It is weird, Peabody admitted, then let out a long sigh. We're not talking about it. Give me the first address. Peabody? You were wondering. I was not. But she winced as she distressingly clear image of Peabody and McNabb popped gleefully into her mind. Keep your mind on the job. I have lots of compartments in my mind. With a happy sigh, Peabody settled in. Room for everything. Eve doesn't want to know. She doesn't want to see. She doesn't want to deal with Peabody McNabb. Because she doesn't know that they will be permanent. Eve's afraid they're going to break up. So I did that. Oh, let's see what this is. So, they're talking about the theater, Eve and Peabody. A dancer. I've got a cousin who made it to the regional ballet company in Denver. Somebody's doing jetés. I used to want to be one. A dancer? Eve glanced back. Peabody cheeks were pretty and pink from the climb. Yeah, well, when I was a kid, but I don't have the build. Dancers are built more like you. I went to the ballet with Charles a couple of weeks back. All the ballerinas were tall and skinny. Makes me sick. It was the safest response when Peabody mentioned her connection to the licensed companion, Charles Monroe. I'm built more like an opera singer, sturdy. You into opera now? I've been a few times. It's okay. She blew out a relieved breath when they reached the fourth floor, tried not to be irritated that Eve wasn't winded. Charles goes for that culture stuff. Must keep you busy juggling him and McNabb. Peabody grinned. I thought there was no me and McNabb in your reality. Shut up, Peabody. Annoyed, Eve rapped on the proctor's door. So they do their interview. Then after the interview, they go for lunch. See. They talk about getting hot dogs. So we can just skip that. Oh, then Nadine calls. Peabody was saved from a scathing response by the beep of the car link. Nadine, first reporter for Channel 75, floated on screen. Dallas, I need to talk to you as soon as you can manage. Now, nowadays, you have that Bluetooth and you can punch it and you can talk to your car. The phone will go into your car. Who knew? They did it here first. Witness in death. They did it in all the books, actually, but I was just pointing that out. Nadine needs to talk to Eve, not in regards to the case, but not in regards to an interview. Nadine needs to talk to Eve in regards to a personal nature directed by the case. And Eve doesn't get it yet. So Eve tells Peabody, and Peabody's a little upset that Nadine asked to speak with Eve privately and not with Peabody, and that just Peabody considers the three of them friends, and it's also her case, and she's working with Eve, and she feels that she should be included in this. But it's a personal nature. Peabody eventually, but we're going to go through the turmoil of having to get there first. So Nadine asked for the personal screen meet. So then we sit down with Nadine a few pages later, and they go to the Down and Dirty, and Eve makes Peabody sit at the bar, and Nadine and Eve have their personal convo, and Nadine tells Eve about her personal relationship with the victim. And we'll leave it at there. Then uh so then Eve is talking to Feeney, and they're talking about going through the interview list, right? Let's see if we can whittle this down from a few thousand suspects. How far has McNabb gotten? He got a ways before I sprang him for the day. You let him go? He had a date, Feeney said and grinned. Eve winced. Shut up, Feeney. She ordered and broke transmission. She brooded because it made her feel better than shot through the gates of home. Even in a miserable weather, it was magnificent. Maybe more magnificent, she thought, in the gloom and gray. Somerset was waiting for her, his thin face dour, mouthed in a flat line. Lieutenant, you surprised me. You arrived home in a timely fashion. Don't you have anything better to do than to clock me in and out of here? She stripped off her jacket, tossed it on the newel post to annoy him. You could be out scaring small children. Somerset sniffed and, to annoy her, picked up her damp leather jacket with 2 fingers. What, no blood today? That can be rearranged. Rourke home yet? Rourke is in the lower level recreation center, and he's playing a video, an old pinball machine game from the 70s and 80s. You know, with the side flippers. You press the buttons and the flippers go. So we have a whole thing with that. Then we have a little romance with McNabb. Some might have called Ian McNabb's ramshackle apartment on the Lower West Side an alternative universe. It was a guy's space, badly decorated, heavy on the sports memorabilia, and scattered with dirty clothes. At the moment, with his heart stuttering and his skin slick from sex, it worked just fine. Jesus, Peabody. He flopped over on his back, much like a landed trout. He didn't bother to grasp for air. He had a lush, naked woman in his bed. He could die a happy man. We had to break a record that time. We ought to be writing this down. And they discussed their relationship. They never really, get that far. They just discussed McNabb is trying really hard, and he's too scared to come out and say stuff. So, Peabody learns, of the Nadine stuff. I don't know. He's telling McNabb. Nadine tagged the lieutenant today, and she was Raz. Nadine, I mean. Absently, Peabody reached into the bag. You don't see Nadine Raz very often. She makes a meet with Dallas, a personal meet. It was serious. They stashed me across the room, but I could tell, and after Dallas didn't say a word about it. Maybe it was just personal shit. No, Nadine's not going to ask for a meet like that unless there's trouble. Nadine was her friend too, and part of Peabody was bruised that she was brushed aside. I think it ties to the case. Dallas should have told me. Peabody crunched on chips. She should trust me. Want me to poke around? I can do my own poking. I don't need an E Division hotshot running plays for me. Suit yourself, Peabody. Just lay off. I don't even know why I told you. It's just sitting in my gut. Nadine's a friend. She's supposed to be a friend. You're jealous. Bullshit. Yeah, you are. He was beginning to have an intimate relationship with the feeling. Nadine and Dallas are playing without you, so you're jealous. It's a girl's dynamic 101. She shoved him off the arm of the chair. And it's true, and it gets worse. It gets worse. Yeah, Peabody's gonna have an axe to grind in a few more chapters. So, Rourke goes with Eve to investigate the deceased hotel room. And in the deceased hotel room, it was one of those permanent suites that he rented for like a year or so of the play. In the hotel room, they found CDs, videos of him with women, multiple women. The cameras were pointed at the bed during their stuff, and Nadine is on one of those discs. So Eve packs them all away, and then deep sixes Nadine's separately. Makes it her eyes only type situation. So then Eve has to, they're talking to the other people in the hotel, and they go across the room and talk to another suspect, and this new suspect is entertaining with Charles. In the kitchen, Charles sipped his wine and Rourke made do with reasonably decent fake coffee the auto chef offered. Irina's having a difficult time, Charles began. I imagine she is. There's no law against paying for comfort. No, my job is as viable as hers. Rourke inclined his head. Monroe, Eve has no personal vendetta against licensed companions. Just against me in particular. She's protective of Peabody. With his eyes clear and direct, Rourke sipped again. So am I. I am fond of Delia. Delia is Peabody's first name. Very fond. I never heard her. I've never deceived her. On a sound of disgust, Charles turned away to stare through the window at the lights. I lost my chance to have a relationship outside my job, to have a life love. It happens, but it's going to be a few books down the road. A life outside my job because I deceive a woman. Then, because I cared enough about it to be honest, I came to terms with that. I am what I am. He turned his back and his lips curved. I am good at what I do. Delia accepts it. Perhaps, but women are the oddest creatures, aren't they? A man never really knows, and that, I think, is part of their continual appeal. A mystery more interesting isn't before it's completely solved. With a half laugh, Charles looked over his shoulder and Eve walked through the door. And I think Eve talks to Charles about the situation. And okay, so he does do it. So then when Eve comes in, because she's interviewed Irina, and then she comes in and interviews Charles reveals to Eve that his and Delilah, or Delia, actually it's Delia, I have to remember that, it's Delia, Peabody, I always call her Peabody, their relationship was platonic, and Peabody will be very pissed off that Charles revealed that to Eve. So then Eve and Charles have a discussion over that. So then we talk to Baxter. They talk about someone in the case. So then Eve talks with Baxter about the case. He doesn't mention All right. So we talked to Baxter about the case. Then it's Peabody. When Peabody came in an hour later, Eve was sitting at her crowded desk ringing. Look, Peabody, it's Christmas. Whoa, it's beautiful. It's squared. Yeah, it's mine. Tom John Lewis, my best friend, hooked me up. Listen to me, Peabody. It does what I tell it to. Oh, she's got a new computer. That's what it is. And she tells Peabody that she went to the victim's apartment last night, and Peabody gets a little that chip on Peabody's shoulder with Nadine is now getting a little bit larger, that Eve went to the victim's apartment without her. And Peabody eventually, it's not here right now, but eventually discovers that Eve has sealed some of the evidence from the victim's apartment, and that chip on Peabody's shoulder is going to get a little bit bigger. Okay, so then she meets with Mira. Let's see, we did that. Shit. And Eve talks to Mira about Nadine and the victim and the case. And Rourke has the cutest comment. There's another murder in the theater again. And this little kid, Ralph, talks to Rourke. I've always wondered if Rourke helped Ralph get further in the business, but we don't know. It's not answered, but I always wondered if Rourke helped Ralph out a little bit, because Ralph was so good at what he providing information and doing his job and stuff like that. So we'll see. We never heard from Ralph again. So let's go on. Eve talks to Rourke. Rourke, being the computer genius, his record is spotless. If Rourke ever committed any type of crime anywhere, Rourke has erased all records. So they talk about the fact that she knows that Rourke erased all his records. She has no idea what it said, but she has erased all. He erased all records. And they talk about Ralph. And then she goes to the morgue and sees Morris. Morris becomes a really consistent, reoccurring character in future books. So then, let's see. Peabody and I didn't pull up this page. But it will get talked about in the future. Peabody wants to get another apartment closer to the Cop Central, and Peabody will get her and McNabb will get a place together, but it's going to take a few books. So they're talking about that stuff. And it's not brought up here. It's not brought up till much later, so we can just skip this. So then we run into Mavis. And she's showing Mavis is showing her bi-colored braids. It's a good follow-up number for the new video. Oh, they were watching her vid. So they talk about the vid, and Peabody's there at some point. Let's see. So Rourke is there too. Mavis bit her lip, looked to Rourke for agreement. Then it is not, drew 2 deep breaths. Okay, my last disc, curl your hair. Rourke got early word that it's hitting in the top 5 next week vids tracks. Dallas, I'm number 3, right behind the Butt Busters and Indigo. She might not have had a clue who Butt Busters or Indigo might be, but Eve knew vid tracks was Mavis's Bible. That's fabulous. Eve rose, gave Mavis a hug. and Eve, Mavis wants to do a girl time with Trina, and Eve is frightened out of her gourd of Trina. Let's set up a girls thing. We're up for the full treatment. Full treatment? No, was all Eve could think. Not the full treatment, anything but that. Look, Mavis, I just got home to work. I've got this case. You always got a case. Undeterred, Mavis poured herself a glass of wine, then brought the bottle to the top eaves off as Rourke lazily lighted a cigarette. And Rourke will stop smoking at some point. Hi, Sandy. Do you want to come visit? Do you want to come visit? You want to come up here? Come here. You're walking around here. What? What? Your sister's asleep. Alright. Come over here. You want to come here? Come here. Come here. Sandy. Come here. Come here. Come over here. She's sitting here like this. Come here. But Smokey's there, Mom. I can't come over there when Smokey's there. Come on, Sandy. Sandy. Okay. Let's see. So, Nadine and Eve talk about her visit to the victim's thing, and Peabody is getting more upset. The chip on her shoulder is getting a little bit higher. Shall I record, sir? Huh? No, I'm just running it by you. She turned and saw that once Rourke was right. Something was up with her aim. She ordered herself not to poke into the personal and sat. We pretty well nailed down the time of the switch. The prop knife is clearly visible. Computer visual evidence 6B on screen. You've marked and recorded with VE? Peabody asked, her voice cold as February. Last night, after my review. Eve moved her shoulder. The snipe was like a hot itch between her shoulders. So, just updating my own records, Lieutenant. It's my job. Nobody's telling you not to do your job. I'm briefing you, aren't I? Selectively, it appears. Okay, what the hell does that mean? I had occasion to return to Central last night. That just added to her slow burn. In the process of reviewing the file, assimilating evidence, and the timeline, certain pieces of that evidence marked and sealed for Level 5 came to my attention. I was unaware until that point that there were areas of this investigation considered off limits to your aid and your team. Respectively, sir, this policy can and will hamper the efficiency of said aid and team. Don't use that snotty tone on me, pal. I marked it Level 5 in what my judgment required Level 5. You don't need to know everything. Little spots of heat bloomed on Peabody's cheeks. So I am now aware, Lieutenant. So knock it off. It's always your way, isn't it? Damn right, I'm your supervisor, and I'm priming this investigation, so you bet your tight ass it's my way. Then you should have advised Subject Monroe to keep his mouth shut, shouldn't you, sir? Eve set her teeth, ground teeth. Try to spare feelings, she thought, and you get kicked in the ass. Subject Monroe, Charles, has, in my opinion, no connection to this investigation. Therefore, any communication I had with him is none of your business. It is my business when you interrogate him over my personal relationship with him. I didn't interrogate him. He spilled it all over me. See, Peabody has learned that Charles told Eve that their relationship was not of a sexual nature. And it irks the life out of Peabody. Just literally irks the life out of her. McNabb walks in and Eve is like, out, leave. Sit down. I prefer to stand. and I prefer to give you a boot in the ass, but I'm restraining myself. Okay, Stan, you couldn't sit with that stick up your butt anyway. Once you shove it up every subject, Charles Monroe is mentioned. You want to be filled in? You want to be briefed? Fine, here it is. And Eve briefs her on the interview. Uh, oh no. Don't, no crying. We're on duty. There is no crying on duty. I'm sorry. I'm just so mad, so embarrassed he told you we've never had sex. Jesus, Peabody, do you think I put that in the report? No, I don't know. No. But I'm seeing him for weeks, and we've never even got close to him. Well, he explained that when Peabody howled horror. Wrong thing to say, very wrong. What the hell was the right thing? Look, he's a nice guy. I didn't give him enough credit. He likes you. Then why hasn't he jumped me? Sex isn't everything? Oh, sure, easy for you to say. You're married to the mango sex god of the century. Jesus, Peabody. You are. He's gorgeous, he's built, he's smart, he's sexy, and he's dangerous, and he loves you. No, no, he adores you. He'd jump in front of a speeding maxi bus for you. They don't go very fast, Eve murmured, and was relieved when Peabody laughed. You know what I mean. Yeah, I know. It's not Charles isn't attracted to you. It's what the hell was Mira was needed for. That's it. He respects you. And they talk some more about the relationship. It's just so much fun. Um, so then, uh, McNabb is talking to Rourke. Um, well, now if there's some bit of business you're unlikely to find in it this way, aren't you? I'm not. Something old and simmering, you say, considering the possibility Rock cooked another fry. If I wanted to find something long buried, so to speak, I'd figure on getting a bit of dirt under my nails. I don't follow you. Sealed records. I don't have the authority to open sealed. You gotta have a probable cause and a warrant and all that happy stuff. While Rourke merely smiled, McNabb straightened, glanced at the entrance door. Of course, if there was a way around all of that. There are ways, Ian. There are always ways. And there's a CYA, cover your butt factor. Um, and then Eve finds out that they did this stuff, and she gives him a little. But and Rourke gives Ian an official warrant, and it's all by the books. And then they get around to uh, there's this other thing. McNabb shifted foot to foot on his purple air boots. It's kind of personal. I was going to work around talking to the lieutenant about it, but well, you know how she is. I know precisely. He studied McNabb's face, felt a bit of pity wrapped around amusement. Women, Ian? Oh, yeah, well, woman, I guess I gotta figure a guy like you knows how to handle them as well as you handle electronics. I just don't get women. I mean, I get them. I don't have any problems with sex. I just don't get them in an intellectual sense, I guess. I see. If you want me to discuss the intricacies and capriciousness of the female mind, we'll need several days and a great deal of liquor. Yeah, I guess you're in a hurry right now. Um, I imagine this involves Peabody. We're, doing it. Ian, I had no idea you were such a wild romantic, a virtual poet. We have a really amazing sex. That's lovely for both of you, and congratulations. But I'm not sure Peabody would appreciate you sharing that piece of information with me. It's not really about sex, McNabb said quickly, afraid he'd lose sounding board before he sounded off. I mean, it is, because we have it, a lot of it, and it rocks, so that's Maginal. That's how I figured it would be if I ever got her out of that uniform 5 damn minutes. But that's like it, that's all. Every time we finish, naked pretzel, I have to bribe her with food or get her going about a case, or she's out the door, or booting me out if we landed at her place. The only woman who mattered, and you're looking for more? Weird, huh? I really like women, all sorts of women. I especially like them naked. Who could blame you? Exactly. So I finally get a chance to bounce on naked on Peabody, and it makes me crazy. I'm all tied up inside, and she's cruising like alone. I always figured women, mostly they were supposed to want the whole relationship thing, talking about stuff so you come up with all those nice lies. I mean, they know you're lying, but they go along with it because maybe you won't be later on or something. That's a fascinating view on the male-female dynamic, Rourke said. I take it Peabody isn't interested in pleasant lies? I don't know what she's interested in. That's the whole deal. Wound up now, he waved his arms. I mean, she likes sex. She's into her work. She looks at Dallas like the lieutenant has the answers to the mysteries of the universe. Then she goes off with that goddamn Monroe son of a bee to the opera. Rival my ass. What the hell's wrong with her going around with that slick Elsie? Fancy dinners and art shows. Listening to music you can't even dance to. I ought to smash his face in. It would be satisfying, no doubt, but too bounce to annoy the woman in question. Have you tried romance? What do you mean? Like goofy stuff? Let's try this out. Have you asked her out? Sure. We see each other a couple nights a week. Out in public, Ian. To a movie. To a restaurant for a meal. Get her flowers. Duh. So, McNabb steals some flowers out of Rourke's garden and gives them to Peabody. So we get through all that. Let's see, what's this stuff with Feeney? Oh, yeah, Eve goes to see Feeney in his office, and, he smells, how come you smell like a fancy green salad, Feeney? Quiet down, will you, Christ? He darted looks right and left until he was sure no one was close enough to hear. Then he lowered his voice to a mutter just in case. Look, my wife gave me this stuff for our anniversary. You're supposed to put salad dressing on lettuce. It's not salad dressing, it's you smell to eat. His mouth found a spot between a snarl and a sneer. That's what she said. Keep it down, will you? I couldn't get out of the house. I couldn't get out of the house without putting this on, or it hurt her feelings. You have to get pretty close to catch it, but damn stuff lasts hours. Poor Feeney. His wife bought him salad dressing perfume. Poor guy. His wife does a lot of stuff. We haven't actually seen her. We haven't actually talked to her physically. She's been off stage for 60 books. So that was just funny. Oh. Let's see if we have time for this. Excuse me a second. Shit. Alright, so Eve has had all this talk with all these different people about romance. So she's decided she's going to do this fancy dinner for Rourke. She was about to plan her first intimate dinner. How hard could it be? She asked herself as she jumped into the shower. She led tactical teams in hostile situations. Jack Psychopath outwitted the deranged. She was smart enough to put a fancy meal on a fancy table, probably. So she runs around getting all the stuff. And then she goes to the computer. She decided on white because color meant she was likely to have it matched with more colors, and that was just more than she could handle with. She spent another 20 minutes dealing with the menu, then had to face the frightening ordeal of selecting plates, flatware, and crystal. It had been a shock to run an inventory on something basic as dinner plates and find her husband had 50 types of varying materials and patterns. What kind of maniac needed over 5,000 plates? Her maniac, she reminded herself, the nearly choked when she ran the crystal. Okay, that's got to be wrong. She was a point of choosing at random because her time was running out. May I ask precisely what you're doing? A lesser woman would have yelped. Eve managed just barely to bite it back. Get lost, I'm busy. Somerset strode over, the cat at his heels. So I observe. If you wish to know the contents of the house, I suggest you discuss it with Rourke. I can't because I've killed them, disposed of the body, and now I'm going to hold the biggest auction on or off planet in the history of civilization. She jabbed a finger against something called Waterford Dublin pattern, only because she recognized it as the city where Rourke had been born. Then she looked up with a scowl toward the hovering Somerset. Go away. But his attention had shifted from her to the table under the glass dome of the observation balcony. She'd used the Irish linen, he noted, an excellent choice, which was probably blind luck. The Georgian candles, white tapers. There were a dozen of other candles, all white, scattered around the lounge room, as yet unlighted. Galahad the cat pranced over and leaped onto the satin pillows of the love seat. Jesus, they're forks and knives. The combination of horror and frustration in her tone had Somerset's lips twitching. Which china pattern had you selected? I don't know. Will you get out of here? This is a private party. And he's like looking over. He's like, you forgot the napkins. I'll get to them. When one plans a special meal, one requires the proper accompaniments. What am I doing here, playing Space Attack? Now, if you just go slither under the door again, I could finish up. Flowers are necessary. Flowers? I knew that. She wasn't going to ask. She saw her tongue with her teeth before she'd ask. For a humming 10 seconds, they stared at each other. He took pity on her, then he told himself he was simply maintaining his authority as major domo. I would suggest roses, the royal silver. I guess we've got those, yes. They can be excess. You also require music. I was going to program something. I assume you intend to dress for the evening? Shit! She heaved out a breath, stared hard at the cat who was staring back at her. She suspected he was grinning. It's part of my duties to organize matters such as this. If you'll go on something more, I'll arrange the rest. No, I have to do it myself. That's the point. The whole point is she wants to do the whole thing all by herself to surprise Rourke. So Rourke comes home and discovers that Eve is in the conservatory. And he can't understand why she's in the conservatory, the observatory, whatever. So he goes up and it occurred to him it might be pleasant to have them meal there, relax with a bottle of wine, and shake their respective days from their minds. He'd have to talk her into it. Thinking this, he walked into the room. If she'd been looking in his direction, she would have caught one of the rare moments when her husband was completely flabbergasted. The room was lit with dozens of white candles, and the fragrance of them waltzed with the tender perfume of dozens of silver roses. Crystal glinted, silver glimmers, and the romance of harp strings wept in the air. In the midst of it, Eve stood in a alarm red dress that left her arms and shoulders bare as it skimmed down her long, slim body like an avid lover's hungry hands. Her face flushed, her eyes brightened with concentration as she twisted the wire on the bottle of champagne. Excuse me, I'm looking for my wife. Her stomach jittered a little, but she turned and smiled. Hi. Hello, what's all this? Dinner? Dinner? What have you done? You're not hurt. No, I'm fine. All right, what do you want? What do you mean? I know a setup when I see one. What do you want? Her smile wavered. It took a great deal of effort to keep it from turning into a stall. Why can't I put a nice dinner with ulterior motives? No. Look, it's dinner. You don't want to eat? Fine. I didn't say I didn't want to eat. She was wearing perfume, lip dye. She fussed with her eyes. He reached out to toy with the tear-shaped diamond pendant he'd given him. What are you up to? That tort. Forget it, nothing. I don't know what came over me. Obviously, I lost my mind for a minute. No, for 2 sweaty, stupid hours. That's what it took to put this fiasco together. I'm going to work. I don't think so. You want to keep that hand, pal. You move it. Ah, there she is. For a moment, I thought you'd been replaced by a droid. It gave me a start. I bet you think that's funny. I think I've hurt feelings and I'm sorry. Have I forgotten an occasion? No, no, no. I just wanted to do something for you, to give you something, and you can just stop looking at me like I fried a few circuits. You think you're the only one who can put that kind of deal together? Well, you're right. You are. I nearly stunned myself with my own weapon a half dozen times tonight just to put myself out of my misery. Oh, Evan, it's lovely, Eve, and so are you. Oh, don't start with me, Eve. Just because I don't do this kind of thing, because I don't take the time, hell, because I don't think of it, doesn't mean I don't love you. I do. You steal my breath. I've got this whole love of a lifetime thing in my head. Murder, betrayal, rage. I beg your pardon. The last couple of days, people have said things that keep sticking in my brain. Would you jump in front of a maxi bus for me? Absolutely. They don't go very fast. And they have their little romantic situation. Ah, shoot. Okay. Let's see. I don't think this is. Uh. Oh, Eve discovers that Peabody McNabb are in bed. Um. Alright, then they have this situation with the killer, and True Heart gets hurt, and severely hurt, life threatening hurt, and Eve it feels so guilty about the whole thing, and he's in the hospital, he's almost dying, and uh this this woman comes up to Eve. She tried to sit to manage to for a full minute before she was up and after the coffee again. As she drew another cup, a woman stepped into the room. She was tall, slim, and had True Heart's guileless eyes. "Excuse me," she looked around the room back at Eve. "I'm looking for Lieutenant Dallas." "I'm Dallas." "Oh, I should have known. Troy's told me so much about you. I'm Pauline Trueheart, Troy's mother." Eve expected panic, grief, anger, demands. Instead, stared blankly at Pauline, walked to her, and held out her hand. "Mrs. Trueheart, I very much regret that your son was injured in the line of duty. I'd like you to know that he performed that duty in exemplary fashion. He'd be so pleased to hear you say so. He admires you a great deal. In fact, I hope it won't embarrass you, but I think Troy has a little crush on you. Miss Trueheart, your son was under my hand when he was injured." "Yes, I know. The counselors have explained what happened. I've already spoken with the patient liaison. They're doing everything they can to help him. He'll be fine. In my heart, I know if it was otherwise, he's all I have, you see. He's young and strong. Oh, yes, and a fighter. He wanted to be a policeman as long as I can remember. It means so much to him, that uniform. He's a wonderful young man, Lieutenant. He's never been anything else but a joy to me. I hate thinking about him in pain. Miss Chuart, I don't believe he was in pain. At least he was unconscious when I reached him." "That's good. That helps. Thank you." "How can you thank me? I put him in that position." "Of course you didn't. You must be an excellent commanding officer to care so much. My son wants to serve and protect. Isn't that right?" "Yes." "I worry it's difficult for those of us who love the ones who serve and protect. But I believe in Troy absolutely. I'm sure your mother would say the same thing." And he's like, "I don't have a mother." "Oh, I'm sorry. Well, someone who loves you then, believes in you." And they look at Rock and he's like, "Yeah." Um so then got a few more minutes here. Um uh Eve goes to buy True Heart a gift. And they're in the gift shop in the hospital, so it's limited to what they can buy. And Eve goes to buy this thing per Peabody's instructions on what to buy because Eve has no clue. And Eve gets to the register. "Thank you for your purchase, Eve." "Dallas, one moment, please, while your credit is verified." "I'll give you my half on day, okay?" "Yeah, whatever. Why do these things take so long?" "Thank you for waiting, Eve." "Dallas, the cost of your selection Super Street Fire PCC version comes to $116.58, including all applicable taxes. Due to Authorization 1, your account will not be debited for this selection. Please enjoy your day." "What's Authorization 1? Authorization 1, Rock Industries. This level entitles you to select any items under the manufacturer's brand at no cost." And Peabody's like, and he's like, "No, you can't." And then, um, even Rock just, discuss vacation time. And it's fun how they discuss. Rourke will come at her and say, "Oh, 3 weeks." And then Eve will come back with 7 days. And then Rourke will come back for like 14 days. And they'll negotiate. It's fun. But they also discuss the game. And Rourke is like, "You're buying something from my company. It's my company. I'm not going to charge my wife for taking something from my company. And she doesn't get it. She just doesn't get it. Um, uh, let's see. So they're talking about his job, stuff like that. Um, and before I forget, what's the deal with this Osciration 1? You bought something? He handed her the rest of his coffee. I must make a celebrational note on my calendar. Eve Dallas went shopping. Strike up the band. She scowled off into space. I was in a pretty good mood before I came in here. See, you're cross. As to Authorization 1, what sense does it make you to pay for products manufactured by my companies? Next time I'm going to competitor, if I can find one. I'm going to close the case today. So, who married Draco and why? And what's going on with Peabody McNabb? We'll have to wait till the next book. That's upstairs. That we'll get and see next week. But there you go. Peabody McNabb, Mavis and Leonardo, Trina, Nadine. What does Peabody say? I didn't include that piece, but you can, when you read the book, you can see what Peabody says when she finally is told what's going on with Nadine, when the secrets are revealed. And the big issue behind the victim, the murder victim, the story behind that, it's multi-layered, it's an extensive one. And catching up with Feeney and Dr. Morris and all those people. And I'll see you next week for I don't know if it's in here. Let's see. Nope, it's not in here yet. Oh, wait a minute. Judgment and Death. So have a good one.